Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, how are we getting on? So, guess who's aboard the hype train right now? So yesterday, as I'm sure you've seen, Bethesda tweeted this out, which, as you can imagine, sent the internet rather crazy, and got huge amounts of speculation going, so we had a lot of theories. It's, as I'm sure you can see, the loading screen from the Fallout games with a lot more colour than usual, which is hinting at, presumably, the setting of the game, which we'll be talking about quite a lot in a moment. Yeah, there was a lot of theories. Is it going to be a new Fallout 3 remaster? Because it's been 10 years, I think, since that came out. Or was it going to be possibly a Fallout MMO, or just a Switch port rather, for Fallout 4? We weren't really sure. It was massive speculation, as you can imagine. And at the same time, they started up a live stream that was basically a camera pointed at a TV with the same GIF on it, and a Vault Boy, bobblehead rather, on a table right beside it. And that rolled on for 24 hours until today, where earlier today it went all blurry, you couldn't see anything at all, and Todd Howard appeared and gave us this message.
Have we waited long enough, guys? I think we have. We want to thank all of you who tuned into this. It's amazing. We have had over 2 million unique visitors to this stream to watch, I don't know what, nothing, but we have something really cool to show you. It's a tease for our next game, and we'll see you all at E3 June 10th. Thanks again.
So, we do know now that it's a whole new Fallout game. It's not going to be a remaster, it's not going to be a port, we know it's definitely a new game. And following this, we know that there was a teaser trailer that we got shown, which was looking absolutely fascinating. So in a moment we'll take a quick look at that, and then we'll dive into it and do a bit of analysis and see what we can glean from it. Obviously we'll... So if you guys have anything you'd like to add in, I'd like to hear your thoughts. Do drop me a comment, let me know. But for now, I'm going to shut up and let's take a look at it.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is all there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like the breeze. Country roads, take me.
But when the fighting is stopped and the fallout is settled, you must rebuild.
I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country roads, take me home, country roads.
In Vault 76, our future begins.
Okay, so that was really cool and I'm really excited about this. It's looking awesome that we're going to get a new Fallout game. So we're going to take a look at it in a little bit more detail and see what we can figure out and see what we can glean ahead of the E3 conference, which is a week on Sunday. It's Sunday the 10th, and it will be at 6:30 PM Pacific time, which I believe is about 2:30 in the morning GMT, or rather British summertime where I am. So obviously I will be watching that and very much looking forward to that. It should be great, and I have no doubt I will be getting my responses as well. So, got my notes ready. Let's have a look into it. So, as guessed, I much suspected it was going to be a new game. There's way too much hype built up from this to be just something small like a port. And obviously this is what Bethesda did ahead of the launch of Fallout 4. They put a very similar logo up, and then obviously the E3 release and announcement came a few days later, so it's looking very familiar from that point of view. It could still possibly be an MMO, but I think it's pretty unlikely, especially given at the Video Game Awards, Bethesda were talking about the whole Save Player One thing, doing single-player games. So I'm suspecting it will just be a standalone new Fallout game. Given the timing, it's also a couple of years after Fallout 4, so we've got much the same time as Fallout New Vegas released after Fallout 3, so I suspect it will fit into that slot, though Obsidian have said it's not them, so it sounds like it's been developed in-house by Bethesda, so that should be interesting. It'll probably be a lot more like Fallout 4, it'll have, I suspect, a lot of the mechanics from that into this new game, hopefully a bit more polish as well, but then again it is a relatively short development cycle as well by Bethesda's usual standards, so we'll see. So, what have we seen so far? Oh yes, I was going to say as well, notes, that in all likelihood, yes, they will probably put it on all platforms. You're likely to see a Switch version, and they'll probably do a VR version, although that may come out a little bit later. These things do take time. So, we've got a setting, which is Vault 76, which has been teased and mentioned in previous games. We know a little bit about it, not a vast amount. But taking a look over at the Fallout wiki about it, it was first mentioned in Fallout 3 and subsequently in its DLC, which was Mothership Zeta specifically. So we do know a little bit about it. So what's the wiki got to say? I'm just going to take a look at that now. Which is a Vault-Tec terminal in the Citadel lists Vault 76 as a control vault with 500 occupants. The vault was designed to open 20 years after a nuclear war, and was among 17 known control vaults, meaning it was used as a baseline to compare it to the experimental vaults. So hopefully this will be one of the rare occasions where no weird things were done to the inhabitants of the vault. So no cryo freeze, no staying sealed, just a plain place for people to survive. And obviously be observed while they're doing so. So it's mentioned in an alien captive log on Mothership Zeta, recorded by somebody called Giles Wollstonecroft, apparently, who was a Vault-Tec official abducted while inspecting Vault 76's construction site. And apparently in Fallout 4 there's a newsreader mentioning Vault 76 as well, and I haven't actually seen that myself, actually, unless I've just totally missed it somewhere. There we go. It mentions that it's themed in honour of America's tricentenary, so presumably that's 300 years of the US. So that will put it to 20... what was it? I've got a picture here somewhere. No, not that one. Bear with. 2076, there we go. 1776 to 2076. So, back over at the wiki. And there was, yeah, they were discussing the plans to expand the Vault network. So that's what we've got from the wiki. Tells us a little bit about it. So, yeah, we're looking like, if it's, from what little I can see from the game, or the trailer rather, it looks like it'll be a few years after that the game's set, so a little while after that 20-year mark, so it's likely to be much more extreme, much more irradiated landscape, just 20 years after the war, and therefore a lot more survival orientated, possibly, maybe, who knows. So, taking a look at some of the things I've pulled out of the trailer. I'll just find my pictures again. No, not those. There we are. So, first thing we get to see is the brand new Pip-Boy, which I suspect is actually a brand old Pip-Boy, because it looks a lot more old school, a lot less developed. It's very boxy and square, very unrefined, but it looks very, very cool. I like it. It's got a little external speaker on there and the buttons. And they've kept with the theme from Fallout 4 of actually putting all the controls on the correct side. Obviously it's going to be on your left arm, so you can operate it with your right hand. All the controls are over to the right this time, unlike in Fallout 3. So that's very, very cool. We also have a date on there at the bottom, which you can see a little bit more closely, which is the 27th of October 2102, which will actually put it 26 years after the war, so 6 years after the vault was initially supposed to open. People question, did the vault not open? Was there some reason that the player character was in the vault after everybody else had left? Did something happen? Who knows? We don't see anybody around in the trailer, I don't think. The other possibility I was wondering about, if they work with a similar release cycle to they did with Fallout 4 and it comes out this autumn, fingers crossed, that would be absolutely awesome, then the 27th of October, which is obviously the day the bombs fell, would also make for an excellent release date. I'm sure they'll favour getting the game right, or as right as they can do with the hugeness of a Bethesda Fallout game, over a specific lore-friendly date, but it's the right sort of time frame, so who knows, that would be very, very cool if they do that. So, next thing I pulled out was this, the bed. So, it looks like we're either in a home of the future or more likely, as we've seen from the trailer, actually within a vault, and this bed has got a weird combination of childishness, all the colours, and we've got the Jangles the Moon monkey there, and we've got a baseball down underneath as well, and a little toy Vault-Tec van. And it's coupled off with things like the backpack and the hat we can see there that are much more grown-up items. Which makes me think the player character has obviously grown up in the vault. You're usually around about the 19-20 years old mark in a Fallout game, or you certainly were in Fallout 3. So that would fit. On the other hand, looking at that date again, it's 26 years, so maybe it's late 20s, 30, somewhere around there. Which would kind of mesh up a little better with, say, Fallout 4. The character's obviously a bit older in that. So, interesting. We'll be curious to see what the plan is with that and see what happens. So, jumping on to the next picture, we've got the TV that we've seen. If you have a look around it, there's a few little things that might be interesting hints. Obviously, absolutely everything we've been shown here has been considered to the nth degree by Bethesda. There's nothing unplanned in here. They know what they're showing us, so we can either take something from that or not. It's kind of hard to say. They may well have deliberately misplaced things to throw us off, who knows. But on the left of the TV there, you can see we've got Cappy and Bottle from Nuka World. So, interesting little reference there, and obviously there's a rocket in the background as well. Bobblehead's nothing surprising. You see underneath the TV on the little shelf there, there's a UFO, much like the one in Fallout 4. So, little reference to Mothership Zeta, possibly. Who knows? And we've got a little iBot model down there as well, which could just be an iBot, nothing about it, or it could be a little nod towards Edie from Fallout New Vegas, the iBot companion you can pick up. So, kind of fits in with the timing as well, maybe. Who knows? That's interesting. So, where's my next card? The next one to look at is we've got a few awards on the shelf here as we move through the apartment in the vault. Looking closely at them, it's kind of hard to see what they're all about. I think there's a bit of tongue-in-cheek here, to be honest, for the most part. We've got a hairdressing award, we've got a Halloween costume award, and further down we've got a golden toilet as well for what appears, it's kind of hard to read these, but it appears to be the best kept toilet in the vault, or best smelling one possibly. But the more interesting one is the outstanding, or I thought at first was the Outstanding Achievement Award. That appears to have a reference to making a sacrifice of many people for the few, which is basically what the Vault-Tec program was a little bit too much about. So it'd be interesting to know, is that something to do with the player character, or is possibly, as is a theory I kind of like, that the player character might actually be the child of the person who was abducted in Mothership Zeta. If that's the case, it would fit with the age, it would make a lot of sense in that regard. And it would also possibly make the awards belonging to their parent rather than the player character. Who knows? It would explain a lot, given they were involved in the development of the vaults, whereas somebody at around about that age, given that 26 years and so on, probably wouldn't have been. Unless we're playing a much older character, but it doesn't look like that from the trailer. But, who knows? So, what else have we got? So, we've got a little look at the atrium here, which is clearly set up for a big Vault-Tec party. Got lots of confetti everywhere, balloons, some banners, bunting, that's the word, that's what that's called. So it looks like there's been a big party and we've got Reclamation Day, so my guess is that that's everybody leaving the Vault party for 20 years after the bombs fell. But we don't see anybody else around, so harking back to one of the awards, one of them was talking about the isolation, so that outstanding thing again. So maybe the player character was in isolation, maybe kept separate from the rest of the Vault population. As a further part, possibly there was actually nobody else here, but it was supposed to have 500 occupants, so I suspect more likely everybody else left on the 20-year mark, and the character for some reason is stuck there for another 6 years and only just gets out. Seems more likely to me. So I think that's possibly a little bit of setup there. It's my guess. It doesn't really explain why the blooms are still intact though. But it is a teaser trailer after all, so a few variations. But then again, they're underground, maybe they're good quality blooms. So, leaves us with the last thing we have to look at, which is not that. There we go. The Vault suit. Now the first thing I would compare that to is the Vault suit in Fallout 4, which is obviously a lot more high-tech than this would appear. But then again, it's designed to work with the cryostasis, whereas this wouldn't be. So we've actually got an exposed external wire on this one, which is interesting. Goes with the slightly more retro Pip-Boy as well, which is cool. So, I'm definitely looking at a more basic rustic version of Fallout, I think. Should be very, very cool as well. So, overall, what have we got then? So looking at the trailer, obviously we've got a brand new game, which is the big news, so much hype for that. I'm very, very excited. And as you can probably imagine, that will be featuring heavily on the channel. I'm very much looking forward to getting stuck into that. Assuming it doesn't turn out to be an utter disappointment, but I don't think it will be. But yeah, if it's humanly possible, you'll be seeing it. So, a maybe, very, very maybe release date of October 27th? Maybe? Maybe I'm being a bit optimistic. It could even be not this autumn. It's just a hope and a dream, really, in a sense. But they've done it before, so who knows? The timing fits. If they started development either during or around and about the release time of Fallout 4, then they've had long enough, so longer than many companies put into developing their games as well. So we've got, it looks like the character has grown up in the Vault. It seems to fit with the age, and the timing based on the dates we can see around the trailer looks like 26 years after the bombs fell. So almost certainly a highly irradiated world and something much more extreme, possibly geared towards survival mode, because I believe that did pretty well for Bethesda when they included that in Fallout 4. I've certainly had a lot of fun with it. There've also been a lot of more extreme survival orientated mods released for Fallout 4, so there's obviously a market for that, so maybe that's what they've gone with this. Make a lot of sense, I think, anyway. And given the timing of the release as well and the announcements and stuff, it fits in with the release schedule that they had for New Vegas following Fallout 3. Admittedly, that was Obsidian, not Bethesda, and this one appears to be entirely Bethesda. Obsidian have said it's not us. So, yeah. As to exactly the settings, I think it's relatively more standalone, I think, is my theory. As New Vegas happened 4 years after Fallout 3, albeit across the country. This is obviously not going to take place after Fallout 4, it's taking place many, many years before any of the existing games. So I think the first one's about 100 years or 80 years or something like that after the bombs fall, and this seems to be about 26, so that should be very interesting. But all in all, a very effective teaser trailer. Congratulations to Bethesda's marketing team, they've done a fantastic job in the building hype. Here's hoping it lives up, but I'm sure it will, they're usually very good at this sort of thing. So, I'd love to hear what you guys think. Let me know your theories, your thoughts. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wide of the mark? What do you reckon? Always interested to hear. Do drop me a comment. For now, I'm going to wrap this up and have my own little internal party on the hype train here. As always, if you'd like to support the channel directly and you enjoyed the video, then head down to the description. There's options there. You can sponsor me on YouTube Gaming, that sort of thing. And it's always very, very much appreciated. But thank you for watching. I will be speaking to you all very, very soon.